Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things. I don't know why, that just sounded so funny to me for a second, Peterisms. It doesn't usually sound funny to me, but today it did. Anyway, welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I have 3 meditations here that I would like to read. Well, 2 meditations and a reading from Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And I specifically went in and tried to pick out 3 readings that I kind of wanted to hear about today. I didn't read any of these first, so I haven't read them and am now rereading them. I'm reading for the first time for you. And if you are watching this channel and you don't watch my BookTube channel whatsoever, I am starting something over there today where I am reading 2 to 3 chapters every day of my book, The Before, Now, and After Then, that I wrote in 2014. So if you have never read my book before, and if you're interested even slightly, come over there and check it out. And I'll be posting those up there today. So anyway, all right, let's get started. The first one that I picked today is from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone. And it is March 21st, Friends Recognition. The best mirror is an old friend, George Herbert. Those who've known us the longest can tell us the truth about ourselves, even when it's truth we might not want to hear. They see us as clearly, the good and the bad, and they recognize when we are being phony or overly impressed with ourselves. We need to see our true selves reflected this way. I'm lucky to have longtime friends who know me and aren't afraid to tell me the truth about myself. I really like this meditation, and I think that 2 things about it that are 2 truths out of it. Number 1 are that our old friends and our family, but maybe more our old friends sometimes than our family. I think sometimes our family thinks certain things about us that aren't really the truth about us. You know what I mean? Like, they think of us to be a certain way because they only see us that way. Like, I know my mom, you know, for years, she always still would see me as 10-year-old Peter, you know? And I think that she really struggled with that. Now, as I got older and we both got sober together, I think she saw me in a different way. But I think sometimes families, you know, see us in one way, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively, and they can't really see us out of that, you know? But I think with friends, it's different. I think that friends that we've been through a lot with, and they've seen our ups, they've seen our downs, they know who we are. I think really good friends, like I've always said this, will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And there are many times that, you know, like I'm driving with my good Judy, Tanya, and we'll be driving around, and I'll, you know, be telling her about like a fight that Alex and I got into or something simple, and I'll say, like, what do you think? And she'll say, yeah, I think you owe him an apology, you know, like, it wasn't probably very nice. Or, you know, in other ways, I'll say something to her, and she'll be like, yeah, he was kind of being an ass in that situation, maybe, you know, like, or if it's, you know, I do the same with her and her husband, and, you know, we're just real open with each other, but she'll tell me, she'll right-size me, you know, and in any situation, be like, you know, maybe you need to look at that. There's a little ego and pride going on there, Peter. You know, you're human. You're okay. And I think the other thing is that, you know, my friend is somebody that can say something to me in a way that I might not hear it from other people. And I think that's, you know, consistent with a lot of us, because we care about them, we love them, but like we don't have to be right in that situation. I've never felt with my friendship with her or some of my other friends where I felt like I needed to be right. With my family, with my husband, you know, when you ask yourself, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? There are moments where I felt like it was important to be right. And I still struggle with that today. And I really try to look at that and go, okay, it's really not that important for me to be right. But sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes inside it feels like I want to be right, you know? But I know overall that that's not it. I just want to be happy. So I think it's a really, you know, good meditation. And I think it's important for us to have people that have known us for a long time, you know, around, so that we don't forget who we are and where we came from as well. You know, I think that that's important, you know, too. And I think the other thing about it is that when we have, like, you know, it's interesting to me that my best friend I've known for like 20 some years, and my husband's best friend, you know, he's known since high school. And, you know, I think the thing is that when we're around the people in our lives that have known us the longest, we are probably acting the closest to who we really are. You know what I mean? So I think that when we're with those people, that we don't have to, you know, feel like we have to put on some pretense or be like, you know, have you ever gone out and be like, hey, how are you doing? It's so good to see you. You know what I mean? But like, you get in a car with your best friend and you're like, oh God, I'm so over today. You know what I mean? Like, you can say that, you can be that. And I think that we don't have to put those false pretenses on. So we're probably closest to who we really are when we're around the people that know us the best. You know, I know when I'm with my husband, when I'm with my best friend, when I'm with my family, I'm the closest to who I really am. You know, although I don't really alter a whole lot, but I will say that, like, to some degree, and this is a lot because of my social anxiety, when I go out in situations where I don't know people a lot, you know, my mask that I put on is, hey, how are you? It's good to see you. Like, that is like a comfortable mask for me to wear now, because inside I'm like, oh my God, what are they thinking of me, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So I try to be like a little bit overly friendly and whatever, and which isn't a bad thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But, you know, I think, and one of the things I love too is, like, you know, when people, like, I just did the video with like Mel recently, and I talk to Mel on the phone all the time, you know, or I did the videos with her, and one of the things that I asked her on we did a video together on my drama channel, and I said, you know, am I any different in person? Because you're exactly the same in person. And I love that when people say that, you know. I think I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm pretty consistent across the board, but with the exception of putting me in social situations where I'm uncomfortable, and then that hi, how are you comes out, or I isolate and I just kind of withdraw and people will be like, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong, and I'm like, nothing's wrong, I can't get to the point where I need to be social, you know. So, and that's a struggle for me sometimes. For years I would go out and do stuff and people would always be like, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong, you know. And there was nothing ever wrong. I just was like, I don't really know how to interact this way, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't know what the right thing is to say, because I have, you know, really bad social anxiety. So anyway, that's a great meditation. Little Boo Radley is being so sweet. He was just laying right here. And you guys want to see? Here, I'm going to show you. Hold on a second. Don't move, Boo Boo. Look at that. Are you helping Dad out with his meditations today? He said, I am helping Dad out with his meditations. Okay. Let's go on to the next one, the don't sweat the small stuff. Oh wait, the one I picked out, I check marked it before I started. I was like, oh, I already read this one. I check marked it before I started because I realized that I didn't check mark the one that I read. Yes, I think it was yesterday or the day before. So I was like wanting to make sure that I did. It's called Learn to Live in the Present Moment. And I thought this would be a good meditation. I don't think I've read this one. If I've read this one, I apologize. But I thought it would be a good one to read today. You know, I know that we're almost all of us stuck at home. And I think it's really hard to start like thinking about, like, I talked about a little bit about this in my other meditation yesterday. Think about like 2 weeks down the road, a month down the road, what are we going to do, what are we going to do, what are we going to do? And as much as I think it's important to plan for the future, I think to borrow trouble and to stress out over things that we don't know how things are going to go yet is important to stay in the present moment. I know for me, that helps me a lot to keep me grounded. Like when I start spiraling a little bit, I'm like, oh my God, okay. All you have to worry about is today. Let's stay in today. You can't control what's going to happen tomorrow or 2 weeks down the road. So, learn to live in the present moment. To a large degree, the measure of our peace of mind is determined by how much we are able to live in the present moment. Irrespective of what happened yesterday or last year, and what may or may not happen tomorrow, the present moment is where you are, always. Without question, many of us have mastered the neurotic art of spending much of our lives worrying about a variety of things, all at once. We allow past problems and future concerns to dominate our present moments. So much so that we end up anxious, frustrated, depressed, and hopeless. On the flip side, we also postpone our gratification, our stated priorities, and our happiness, often convincing ourselves that someday will be better than today. Unfortunately, the same mental dynamics that tell us to look forward or look toward the future will only... Unfortunately, the same mental dynamics that tell us to look for... Hold on a second. Let me get a little drink of water. Clear my throat. Unfortunately, the same mental dynamics that tell us to look toward the future will only repeat themselves so that someday never actually arrives. John Lennon once said, life is what's happening while we're busy making other plans. When we're busy making other plans, our children are busy growing up. The people we love are moving away and dying. Our bodies are getting out of shape, and our dreams are slipping away. In short, we miss out on life. Many people live... Did you ever hear that country music song, Don't Blink? I love that song so much. I can't remember who it's by, but it's about this guy. I think it's... Or is that the one? There's one about this guy sitting in an airport, and the guy is talking to him, and he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, it might be Don't Blink, but I don't think it is. I think the Don't Blink one is Kenny Chesney, about his daughter growing up. But there's this one, and it's about this guy, and he's sitting in an airport, and he's like flying, like he's only going home for the weekends because he has to fly for business. And the guy starts talking to him about like how he missed all of his kids' birthday parties and all this kind of stuff. It's a really great song. Many people live as if life were a dress rehearsal for some later day. It isn't. Do you guys know that Auntie Mame, have you ever seen Auntie Mame? Where she says at the end of it, life is a smorgasbord, and some poor suckers are starving to death. And she says in there that life is not a dress rehearsal, I believe. Most people live as if life were a dress rehearsal for some later day. And I used to say in my videos a lot that life is not a dress rehearsal. It isn't. In fact, no one has a guarantee that he or she will be here tomorrow. Now is the only time we have, and the only time that we have any control over. When our attention is in the present moment, we push fear from our minds. Fear is the concern over events that might happen in the future. We won't have enough money, or children will get into trouble. We will get old and die, whatever. To combat fear, the best strategy is to learn to bring your attention back to the present. Mark Twain said, "I have been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. I don't think I can say it any better. Practice keeping your attention on the here and now. Your efforts will pay great dividends." My old sponsor used to always say to me, he would say, most of the things that you worry, 90% of the things you worry about never even happen. And it's true, and I used to borrow so much trouble, and I really try not to do that today. And when I find myself getting in there, usually like Alex or my best friend or my sponsor or somebody will be like, okay, you're borrowing trouble. Like, why are you doing this, And, because I can get into fear really quick, and, the acronym for fear, one of the acronyms for fear is F everything and run, and just kind of like be like, and that's not a healthy place for me to be. I think looking at the fear, looking through it, moving through it, and seeing what it's about is a much healthier way to live, And the reality is that a lot of the things that I worry about never even happen, A lot of them have, but, there's only so much preparation we can do for the things that we're worried about. I think it's a great meditation, and I think it's, even more so now, just like living in the present moment and enjoying what we're doing and things like that, as much to the ability as we can. All right, let's read the last meditation, and I chose Nightlight by Amy Dean, so you can watch this before you go to bed, and this is kind of an end of the day meditation. I love her. Nightlight, a book of nighttime meditations. And this is from Hazelden Meditations, which Hazelden used to be the hub of recovery in the United States. It's a major treatment center, and they publish a lot of recovery material on their website, which I haven't been to in quite some time, but I need to go over there and buy some new meditation books. March 21st. Do not lose your inward peace for anything whatsoever, even if your whole world seems upset. St. Francis de Sales. Today may have been filled with tense people, hectic schedules, or confusion and anger from those around us. We live and interact with a variety of situations that can range from slightly stressful to very stressful. How we handle ourselves in those situations can determine our inner peace. We can be like an amoeba and suck up the surrounding mood and conform to it, or we can remain detached from the situation and be in touch with ourselves. Just because the environment around us is like a battlefield or is so uncomfortable we want to squirm, that doesn't mean we have to prepare for battle or move about restlessly. Whatever is happening outside of us is somebody else's issue. Our most important issue is us and our own inner peace. The only way our inner peace can change is if we allow it. We are in control of our inner selves, not the world around us. I can remain calm and serene in the face of any crisis because of my strong faith. I believe all is well with me. I think it's hard, especially in times of crisis, at times of scariness, like what we're going through right now, to try to control everything. And oh my God, I'm such a person that has really bad control issues. And I talked a lot last night in my vlog about my obsessive compulsive disorder because somebody had asked me to talk about it, and I've never really talked about it over there. And I noticed that it comes out in times of like where I feel like I don't have control. It comes out more because it's a control mechanism. And I think often when scary stuff is going on in the world, we try to like control those things that we can control because we don't really feel like we have any control in other ways. When I think, in fact, to bring it back in, and I know these things, and these are tools in my toolbox. I know these things, but sometimes I don't always act on them. So it's about reminding myself, and that's why these meditations are good for me. That the only thing that I can control is myself, my peace, my attitude towards what's going on in the world. And if I'm panicking, and then the next person's panicking, and then we're all panicking, like that's not going to do us any good. I think the better thing to do is to, stay informed, stay calm, and stay peaceful, and just control yourself and what you can control right around you, because that's it, And I learned that early on in sobriety, that I am powerless over other people as well, and what they do and what they say, and I'm powerless over the world around me sometimes. And the only thing that I have power and control over is myself and how I act and how I respond to the world. So those are some really good meditations today. I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you're staying safe and healthy. I'm thinking about you guys. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.